Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihi. Amma ba'du. I greet the Mali students and guests, listeners. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to our Ramadan morning session. This is number 8. Each morning during the month of Ramadan, we will make a presentation from the Qur'an. This month is all about the Qur'an. The Qur'an, and we're in the ritual. It's a ritual month. But in Al-Islam, sometimes the ritual is so close to the reality, to the real, that it's difficult for us to distinguish what's real in terms of the real life, the real social material life, and what's ritual. But what we're in a state of ritual during this whole month with all of its various elements and parts. Fasting, praying, extra prayers, breaking the fast, sahur, tarawih, and study and reflection. All part of this ritual. And even we can put it all together and say this intensified devotion. We're looking at chapter 2, verse 28. And we're going to look at the Arabic with the translation. Then we go to the reflection, as we have explained in other presentations. Then from there, we look at Ilmul Ma'ani. Ilmul Ma'ani is the science of semantics that gives us greater meaning of what the Qur'an is saying. This is Ilmul Ma'ani. We had classes of Balaga, which Ilmul Ma'ani is a branch of Balaga, rhetorical eloquence, with Imam Jihad Safar. So speaking to him, he's working on a book, and he mentioned perhaps this would motivate him to finish the book, get the book published. In doing so, that would be good, because then we would have a book. We could use his book in the classes for studying Balaga. A lot of the terms that we're going over now, they're in the book. So it'd be good that we can add the book and add it to our sources in this Mali system. So, and then after the Ilmul Ma'ani analysis, we will have a commentary on the verse. The reflection in the commentary is based upon the readings of Ibn Arabi and Imam W.D. Muhammad. Those are the two main sources. There are a couple of other sources, but those are the two main sources. The other source is perhaps a student of Ibn Arabi, so we will consider it all an Akbarian. It's referred to it as an Akbarian reading, and I have coined the readings of W.D. Muhammad as a Warithian reading. So our reflection and our commentary will be an Ekberio Warithian reading. So let us take a look. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. كيف تكفرون بالله. Phrase. We're gonna go short today. This is the day of Jumu'ah. So I don't want to go too long on the Fridays. كيف تكفرون بالله. Phrase. وكنتم أمواتا. Phrase. Verbal. كيف تكفرون. Verb. كنتم. Treated like a verb. Conjugated. How can you takfuruna, disbelieve in Allah? وَكُنْتُمْ, and you were dead. فَأَحْيَاكُمْ. Phrase. Verb with a pronoun as the object of the verb. The doer of the verb is implied. He caused you. Ahyakum, from for. He caused you life. Thumma yumitukum. Then he caused you death. Caused you to die. Thumma yuhyikum. Then he caused you life again. Thumma ilayhi turja'un. Then to him, prepositional phrase, turja'un, you will return. So now we want to, in our analysis, connect the phrases. Pay attention to the phrases. Notice how past tense. Ahyakum, past tense. Yumitukum, the present. Wa yuhyikum, present. Wa ilayhi turja'un, present. Takfuruna, present. Notice these things when you are reading. Read slow and let ideas come to the mind. Let ideas that become inspiration come to the mind. Okay? These are the phrases. Let's take a look. First, we have our reflection. How can you ignore the signs displaying ingratitude? Kaifa takfuruna. How can you ignore the signs displaying ingratitude and disbelief? Billahi, in Allah. You go through various forms of suffering and experience many kinds of deaths. When kuntum amwatan. Correspondingly, he grants you life. فَأَحْيَاكُمْ. Then he causes you to experience death and life once more. And ultimately, you will return to him. It's a reflection, not a word-for-word translation. Overall, the maqsad, the overall objective or intended purpose. And there's a shift in the discourse. So the verse opens with an interrogative of astonishment, directed at those who reject Allah. Kaifa takfuruna. And then arranges a sequence of life, death, life, return to expose the irrationality of disbelief through lived existential evidence. Continuing the argument. So the opening interrogative, the phrase, Kaifa takfuruna billahi. That's the first phrase. It embodies istifham. Istifham is kaifa. Kaifa is an istifham. It's the interrogation. But it's istihamu al-inti. It's istinkari. Al-istinkari is the interrogation of disapproval. Well, ta'ajjub and astonishment. That's the function of this kaifa. In this context, the function of this kaifa is it is interrogative or asking a question, but it's a question of disapproval. It's in the question, disapproval. And there's also astonishment in this question. So it's not a request for information. You're not asking, it's rhetorical in the sense. You're not asking for a response with information. It's a rebuke and treats disbelief as something astonishingly unreasonable. The use of the second person plural, tekfuruna, is iltifat. Iltifat. I believe iltifat. That's uh, one of the principles of al-Ma'ani that we study. Iltifat. It's the shifting of address. This occurs a lot in the Qur'an. When you're reading the verbs, a lot of little things. There are a lot of little things to learn about as you're reading the Qur'an. It's a lot. It's a lot to it. A lot of parts, a lot of working parts in language, in this language, this Quranic language. So we're taking our time analyzing a lot of the subtle working parts that could go unnoticed. So there's a shifting, tekfuruna is used, there's a shifting that's taking place. From the third person description of disbelievers in prior verses to direct confrontation, which intensifies blame and makes the hearer feel personally implicated. So let's look at what came before, that we could understand what he's saying here, what is being said. So, Kaifa takfuruna. So, but here, coming forward, it was alladina yankuduna wa yaqta'una wa yusiduna. So it was third person being addressed. The third person was being addressed. Now there's a shift. Remember the phrases connect, then the verses connect. And as these verses connect, a shift took place. It's called iltifact. The phrase وأنتم أموات فأحياكم. The phrase employs ta'lil, causal implication. Now, the first phrase we're going to connect to the next phrase. Learn to read the phrases. First, learn to your letters, pronunciation, learn how words connect through i'rab or grammatical analysis. Now we're going to connect phrase. We're going to connect the phrases. And then in connection with the phrases, there we have the nomenclature that connects the phrases. We've been very analytical with the verse. So the first phrase is an istifham. It's an interrogative phrase. Then we're going to connect it with a phrase. It connects based upon ta'lil, reasoning or purpose. It's connecting. So we're saying the reason of their disbelief is repudiated. The cause, the reason, the purpose of their disbelief being repudiated, we could say, is that their own origin, from non-life to life, is an evident proof of the Creator. So it has a causal effect. There's an interrogative, and then there's cause, or purpose, I should say, instead of cause. Purpose. Ta'lil, we're dealing with purpose. Sababi would say causation. So some of this language I may change. Now, notice this fan now. This fan, we know that the main element, the chief element in the fact is that one thing occurs, death occurs, and then life. It comes right away. There's no time element between death and life. You were dead, fa'ahyakum, and he brought you to life. Quicken you to life from the dead, we could say. It happens quick. The contrast, so this fact would be atfun, but this occurs first in a sequence, and then you have the continuity of sequence. Death occurs first, and then life, when you use the fact. With the where, we're not sure. Where antum and watum. Where is an atfun, but we're not sure which occurs first. Only by context can we tell. Here, the language is making a point that this occurs first, then this occurs without time in between. So, and then we have the contrast now between amwatun and ahyakum irtibakun. This is a al-ma'ani principle. Tibak, meaning antithesis. Some of you may remember this. Antithesis. Pairing opposites. You're pairing opposites, dead and alive, to sharpen the meaning and make the proof more striking. Sequence of states. So the structure thumma now, we have thumma. Yumitukum, thumma yuhyikum. Shows taratibun. Shows order, taratibun. Zamaniyun. There's time. There's a time element here in the order. Taratibun zamaniyun. A temporal ordering. There's time in between. Ma'a at-tarahi. And it has delay, with delay. The time is with delay. This phrase, thumma, using thumma now. There's a time delay. A time delay in the sequence. Where there is no time delay. Where we're not sure. Thumma, one act occurred. So let's go back to the phrase now. Then we have to reflect upon what's being said after we understand. The first is, what is the Qur'an saying? Now what does it mean? Just don't try to see words and just say things because you see words. What does it really, what is it saying when kuntum amwatan fa'ahyakum? Thumma, between ahyakum, the next phrase is connecting, but between this phrase and this phrase, thumma, there's time. So life comes, and then thumma yumitukum, there's time between this death and this life. Between this life and this death, there's no time. It's quick. But this death is not long. Because life comes. This brings about life is quick. But the death, there's time. Thumma yuhyikum, there's time. You live a while, you die. There's time. You dead a while, then you're brought to life. You're called to come to life. There's time. There's time periods. It's what the scholars are showing here. So through the repeated thumma, suggesting distinct, well-spaced stages. Worldly life, we could say, we're taken from it. Death, we're taken from it. Resurrection, we're taken from it. And there's time. There's time in this life. There's time in this death before there's a resurrection. Now, from this, you may read books that they'll take from this verse and then take you on a trip. What occurs in these times? This life. What occurs in this life? Then it's connected to the death. So read books about what occurs in the grave. And then what occurs in the resurrection. And what happens, you may find, a society that was highly superstitious, like having a religion of superstition, highly superstitious. That superstition when they read the Qur'an, they may read in it. In reading in it, you don't want to read into the Qur'an. You want to let the Qur'an be read to you. There's a difference. Don't read the Qur'an. Let the Qur'an be read to you. Because when you read into the Qur'an, you're taking influences that have occurred in your environment, and you read those influences into the Qur'an, thinking that's what the Qur'an is saying. So Satan has already influenced us in language. He has put his signs in creation and created a language from his signs. And when we take that, because we want to show we are right. When we read the Quran, we already want to say, I already know I'm already right. We don't want to be corrected. And in turn, have our thinking corrected, have our psychology corrected, have these influences that have veiled the soul corrected. Now I have to pause because I know Namak is saying he stole my writing. Yes, I did, Namak. Write some more so I can steal some more. So read Namak's writing for today. This is why I don't like to talk to people before the Jumu'ah. I talk to them and it will influence me because I'm so sensitive. So I stole it. What's going to do? Take me to jail? Handcuff me, take to me to jail, Your Honor. I stole it. But I did give her credit. And 1,000 people went in reading it after I showed them that she really, Your Honor, owes me 10%. Just a little humor as we go. But I did see it in her writing. These influences, they come to us and we read it into the Quran. So this society of people in their early stages of reading Quran and development, they'll write these superstitions into the reading. We'll get it and think that they really know what goes on in the afterlife. We don't know. We have faith in the afterlife. We don't know. But we're talking about life and death on this side, not on the other side. We're not talking about from this side to the other side. This whole theater, this whole theatrical imagery is going on this side of the life, not the other side. When you read the Quran, think on this side of the life, not on the other side. We don't know the other side. We have faith in the other side. So what happens, a group or community of people who have been inundated with racism, and the influence has been so strong that when we pick the Quran up, we read racism into it. Because we're carrying our worldly life into our reading. When we're reading into it, no, let it come to you. Try to go to the Quran without preconceived thought and let it be read to you. Allow Allah to inspire you. Don't go looking for it. Allow yourself to be inspired. This ordered listing is an instance of adlu at taqsimi, balanced partitioning between life and death, we could say, of human existence. On this side, I remind you, into phases placed in measured symmetry, which produces rhetorical coherence and helps the mind track the argument. The purpose of this ordered thumma, 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 this measured symmetry. Climax and return. So the conclusion, thumma ilayhi turja'un, forms tas'idun, climatic accent. Tas'id, bringing things to a climax. After mentioning creation, death, and revival, the verse culminates in the final return to Allah, shifting from merely factual stages to ultimate accountability. The final return. Now on this side, we have the return. This month, if I put it in the context of this month, on this side, in this life, we have the return to that original nature. Returning to that nature before we were manifested in the life, the physical life, the material life that we see. We existed before in the form of a death, but there was existence. Then we come to life in the form of a manifestation. Yes. And now we want to return to that life in terms of that fitra. We existed in that fitra. We existed. Now we go through the process of experiencing life and death on this side. Then there is a turja'un. There's a return to that original nature. Return to that nature that we come from. Now, that's on this side. We want to return on this side and have life again. Die on this side and have life again. Yes, then there's the ultimate death, we may say, and there'll be life again. Life in the nature. Serving Allah, still serving Allah in that nature after this physical death. There was a life before, a life before this physical life in the form of death. Before this physical life, we existed before, but we don't remember. Now we're going to exist after, as we existed before. Then we could be brought to another manifestation, but we don't know what form it may occur in. We have that faith in that. We don't know that nature, that cloth, let's say that cloth, we were cut from this cloth. All creation, humanity is cut from the same cloth. And that cloth is expressing its diversities. Now we're going to return to that cloth. Become that cloth again, that original cloth. Then we're going to be brought out of that cloth again. We don't know what form. We have faith but we don't know what form we will be brought out again. Allah says, now, for the disbelievers, philosophically speaking, I may say, Allah said we did it the first time. Just think. We did it the first time. It should be much easier to do it again. You come from a form the first time, something the first time, you come into this life, you leave this life, and go back to where you come from. Why would you not think that Allah can do it again? He already did it once. He can do it again. But it may not appear in the same form that you have now. But Allah does give us a hint of faith when we say, on the other side, this looks like something that we had before. But it may be much greater. This is our faith now. The passive, Turja'una, reflects Bina'un. Bina'un. Bina'un is the structure. It's a structure, or here is construction. Structure. The building, the house. In the language, speaking language now. Language has its structure. Language has its own house. Language has its own existence. It has its own male and female existence. Masculine and feminine existence. Ideas. And it's alive. And it can travel. These ideas can travel. بناء لما لم يسمى فاعله. Its subject is not named. That's what it's saying literally. It's a structure to where or to which its subject is not known, which in English we call it passive. We don't know, the subject is not known. Turja'un. You will be returned, but we don't know who's returning you. We don't know. Which hints at inevitability and compulsion by using the passive. You will be returned whether you will it or not, emphasizing Allah's overpowering authority without even needing to name the agent. You will be returned. The overall ma'ana structure, or ma'na, the meaning, taken together, the verse exhibits tarkibul hujjati. It's the ordering or the sequence, no, not the ordering, the proof of argument. Tarkib is the things that are, we could say, constructing proof, but the what's the word? One thing after another. It's the order. or the name doesn't come. But it's the Tarkibu al-Hujjah. Min al-Muhassasi. Min al-Muhassasi, from sense perception. Structuring or layers, the Tarkibu, the layers of proof, by using sense perception. Sense perception that you see with the physical, you're experiencing with the physical senses. Not even, I'm switching from sensory to philosophical, but not even, he's not here, it's not even philosophical. It's common sense. This is a common sense argument. That's how we will put it. You don't have to have a PhD or a master's degree. You don't have to have all of that to follow the argument. It's common sense. Muhassasi. A common sense argument. From immediate existential experience, meaning experience on this side of the life. Non-existence, life, death, life again, rather than abstract speculation. Just on this side. We can have abstract speculation, but we're not speaking from an abstract speculation. We're speaking from common sensory perception. You are non-existence. How often do we see people, babies, coming into existence from somewhere into the life and then dying on this side, experiencing death, life again? We will show. It also realizes, now understand, when we say life, death, it's not somebody, and we're not talking reincarnation. We're not talking reincarnation. We're not talking that the physical person died and came back in another person. We're not talking that. We're not talking a person is coming back to life after they die. A physical life, coming back to physical life after physical death. Literally speaking with the muhassasi, with common sense perception. This is something in religion. People will present in religion because they come and teach religion with these superstitions, miracles, and magic based upon common sense perception that we never witness. But in religion, it's taught. And a lot of people step into this religious environment and then they start looking for magic. Not the science in religion, the magic in religion. They don't want to be disciplined and study to grasp the science. The science from reading the Qur'an, they want to grab the magic. Just magical things going to magically occur. Yes. So we have it. Imam W.D. Muhammad passed away. Next thing you know, we want to be Imam W.D. Muhammad incarnate. But we don't want to be Imam W.D. Muhammad based upon scientific investigation, studying his body of life. Muhammad the Prophet, he passed away physically. We want to be Muhammad the Prophet incarnate. But I'm the Prophet now. We don't want to study the Qur'an. internalize the Qur'an, internalize that body of knowledge that he represents, that will influence us. No, that's too much work. We want claims. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad passed. We want claims of being his reincarnation of him. I'm the Honorable Elijah Muhammad now. I'm the reincarnate of his physical being. People sell us on that. And a lot of people still looking for Jesus to come back in his physical existence. Went up past the sun in physical existence and coming back in physical existence. And put it in religion. Put all these things in religion. Because religion does contain what we would call mysteries. Faith. There's a lot of faith, premises, and faith. But there's a lot of science that have come out of the Qur'an. A lot of the sciences. We don't connect science and faith. We separate. We separate religion and what we call secular. We separate it when it's really not separate. It also realizes tawbihun bit tadkiri bi ni'am. It's a reproach by reminding of favors. Since every mentioned stage is a divine act of giving or managing life in every stage, so the very structure of the sentence makes their ingratitude appear self-contradictory and absurd. When we reflect upon life and death on this side, so the comment, the nature of death reflects the nature of life. Actually, our death is a life. It's a form of life, and sometimes our life is a form of death. Our initial understanding of life and death stems from the dynamic forces in plants, animals, and humans. Dynamic forces we consider life and death. Plants, animals, and humans. That's our initial understanding. We don't understand a rock to be alive or dead. We don't understand that. Like we were talking about the Rocky Mountains and the Appalachian Mountains, and how the one is rock. You see rock. You don't see life coming from it. Perhaps they're old. They've grown old. They can't produce water anymore. Like the human being gets old and doesn't cry anymore. They don't have the sentiments to cry anymore. So it's difficult to bring about the life. Understand what I'm saying? It's difficult. When you no longer have the sentiments, it's difficult to bring about new life. He can't. My husband, he's a sheikh. He's a sheikh. He's old. He can't bring the water. Where's your husband? Where are your fathers? Why come they can't bring you the water? Our father's a sheikh, he can't bring the water. My husband's sheikh, he can't bring the new life. He's too old. He don't have the sentiments to bring about new life. Like the Rockies. They can't produce their own water anymore. The Appalachians, they still produce water. They still can cry. The mountains cry. You're driving along the road, you'll see them crying. Just a crying. Water coming out. Like a human being, this water starts just coming out the eyes like a faucet because of the sentiments. Still have those sentiments. That water will come out of the body. You get old, water, you can't bring the water anymore. Has a lot to do with life, bringing the life. And movement. We see movement in plants and animals and humans. We see movement, so that's our first initial understanding of life. The water comes and then we have movement. We see growth. As we were discussing a lot about it yesterday, how rain comes down and bring about growth. We see life. My plants are alive, vibrant from the rain of revelation. The soul is vibrant, alive. As humans, we are, in a sense, dead. In the loins of our fathers, until we are brought to life through birth. We eventually face physical death and are then raised to life again in the resurrection. Now, that's one way to see it. The loss of our sensibilities can also be seen as a form of death. The Rockies are dead. We experience death through corruption, wickedness, and lies. We die in our suffering. Sleep can be viewed as another form of death. And ignorance is yet another. See, now look how we read the Qur'an now. It's coming to us, not looking into it. This up here is one form we would think. That's the first initial understanding that we will get. Now here are other understandings we will get of life and death. However, some forces, for the Ja'un, some forces can awaken our intelligence after we experience such deaths. I'm having a thought, but I'm going to let it go. These are forces that we experience in creation. We'll talk about it later, maybe. These life forces can begin to communicate with our intelligence. Yes. Revealing that Allah did not create this world without purpose, coming from these forces. They communicate. They communicate to us, these forces. Allah has designed our existence to awaken to our sensibilities and awareness, guiding us toward a life as it should be. In this process, we return to our guardian evolver on this side, the originator and maker of everything on this side. Here we're talking about life and death on this side. Now the ultimate death on this side, the ultimate death on this side in this world is the annihilation of our souls. Die that you may live. Where our will aligns our will in the will there are forces. In our will, when we say will, these are human forces that's in us. But we're going to die to our own human forces that influences our intellect. And we're going to align. When we align our will, die to our wills, and take on the will of Allah. We're going to align our will with the will of Allah. Die to our own souls, because it's this force, this will, this force is in our own soul. We're going to die to that. That the only thing that remains is the will of Allah. These forces we have given names. Mercy is a force. It's a force, and we give that force the name mercy. And we witness this force. We see this force. Not with the physical sensory perception. We witness this force. Spiritually speaking, we witness it. And we see the influence and effect of it. So all the attributes, these names, are really Allah's will. These are names of Allah's will. Provider is a force. It's a force. It's the will of Allah. Provisions come by the will of Allah, and we give this force a name. Peace is a force. So Allah is the peace. And we experience this force. So we're going to give up our peace for the peace of Allah, which our peace, all peace belongs to Allah. But we're going to give up our human force that we have considered as peace, or that has been contaminated or influenced, negatively influenced. We're going to give that up. What we think the peace is, what we move upon what we call peace, and we're going to move now with the force of Allah, with the will of Allah, the peace of Allah. Look at all the attributes. They're just the names of Allah's will, these forces. These are the forces, His will. These life forces we're talking about. Life forces. Ultimately, we will return to Him for judgment on this side. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. That will conclude today's presentation. Assalamu alaikum wa Ramadan Mubarak.